Welcome to Tanked Up, the podcast all about video games and beer. I'm Ben. I'm here with Aadil.
Hey.
Hey, dude. How's it going?
There we go. It's reading week. I don't have to teach. I took the weekend off.
Nice.
And that's, basically, I didn't really do much today either. Yeah. So, but other than that, things are good. I definitely needed the break. I was going a little hard in the social life while having a really, really busy work schedule. So I've been looking forward to having to work on other things.
Yeah, having a bit of a rest.
Yeah, except not really, because I need to finish my PhD corrections.
Oh, yes.
Change chapters into articles and apply to jobs, because I can't do all that when all the work is on. So This week is actually supposed to be super packed with other things. Just different things. Yeah. Anyway, how about you? How are things?
I'm alright. Little lighter in the pocket than I was earlier today. There's lots of fireworks going on. Splash, 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 splash. So Evelyn's going crazy, wanting to constantly look out of windows and things, which is fine. That's what we've been doing for our evening in the last couple of days. But yeah, apart from that, pretty good. Should we crack into some beers?
Let's.
Good. What are you going to drink first?
I'm going to drink this beer.
Ooh.
Northern Monks IPA that happens to be gluten-free.
Yep.
An homage to the origins of IPA and the evolution of the style, piney, juicy, and crisp. The evolution of tradition. It's called Origin. And it's 5.7%. Yeah.
Where did you find that? Supermarket?
No, not supermarket. It was in Corks.
Okay.
And I had bought it because one of my housemates said a friend was coming over who was gluten-free, and I was like, I'll just pick that up since I'm here the last time I went to the shops. And then they never ended up having it, so I was like, it's in the fridge.
Yeah, fair enough.
But yeah.
Nice.
I suspect that it's not going to be notably different than an IPA.
I've had it before. Did I remember much about it? Probably not. I may remember as you're speaking about it. What am I going to drink first? I got two beers. I've got a slightly higher strength porter, coffee porter, and then a vanilla stout. There's only 0.2% within it, so I'm going to go for the slightly higher Baltic Porter first. This is from Sori Brewing from Tallinn. It's a coffee gorilla Baltic Porter. It is a 7%. And it does have some flavour text. So this suggests two Finnish craft beer rebels, Pyri and Hiki, I don't know, voted with their feet against the ludicrous legislation and started the crowd-funded brewery in Tallinn, Estonia on a mission to brew beer without compromises. Okay, yeah, that's about them. A yawn is a silent scream for more coffee. Brew with 6 different malts and smooth espresso. Now it's possible to drink beer and coffee at the same time. This must be the future. Pair this beer with everything chocolate. Enjoy it 12 degrees centigrade from a glass. Now brewed gluten-free and vegan without affecting the flavour. There you go. So this one's also gluten-free as a completely random thing that we've both done.
And by that you mean meticulously planned.
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. How is your beer? How's it look?
It looks remarkably like an IPA. A little hazy, kind of more yellow than I might have thought. I don't know if you could tell because I've got pretty orangey yellow lighting in the room, but like looking at it, it's more yellow than straw.
Yeah.
It's got a little, kind of like a lemony straw, if that makes sense, in the yellow spectrum. Nose is actually quite light. I'm getting a light citrus, a tiny bit of pine. I'm not quite sure what can't quite get the citrus down to something more specific. Also, a little under the weather, so you might hear that in my voice, but also we'll see how things taste.
It just impairs slightly. Hopefully not.
Oh, that citrus is there. It's got a nice little tang to it. really effervescent mouthfeel. Again, that citrus is there. I think this flavor text said something about pine, but the pine is really light. It's just shows up, after the first taste, and then just sort of lingers a little. Again, really light. So I think it's just stable. And then as everything else fades, you're like, a little piney, and then that fades reasonably quickly, and then you're just left with a slightly dry bitterness at the end. So kind of what you want from an IPA. I like that its finish is not too strong, but it's lingering. And that while it's a little dry, it's not so dry that I'm reaching for the glass again.
Yeah, okay.
How's yours?
It smells really nice. It's got something to it. It's not coming off as a huge amount of coffee on the nose. It's definitely there, but it's very light. It's like a light roasted nose to it. But there's something else. There's sort of this... I don't know whether it's maybe some of the yeast they've used. It's possibly just a little bit kind of estery, a little bit sweet on the nose from that. Obviously, it's a porter. It's very, very dark. It is completely black, in fact. Nice sort of light brownish kind of head on there, which sticks around a little bit. But yeah, it's got a lovely nose to it. And flavour-wise, wow, that's really easy. It's not quite the, maybe not quite the big hit that you would think about with maybe something like 7% or 7% porter. It's a little bit lighter. It's got a slightly smooth but quite thin mouthfeel to it. It goes back very, very easily. And then you almost get that slight sweetness right at the beginning. And again, really hard to tell what that slight sweetness is in there, but it's really it's a nice pleasant first hit, and it then mellows into this lovely roasted coffee, and just sits, has a slight hint of bitterness towards the end, but those two flavors kind of having that sweet hit and then it just flowing into that coffee, that really roasted and then bitter on the end coffee, is really nice. That works very, very well. But I want to know what is the sweetness? What's in this that is doing that? I know they said they got a lot of malts in here. They do list the malts. It says contains barley malt, wheat malt, rye malt, and oats. Okay, they're probably just the allergens actually. Because it did say it did say 6 different malts. Yeah, so it doesn't actually tell me the full list of ingredients on it, which is fine. Is what it is. But yeah, it's very easy. It's very nice sort of beer to start a nice dark evening off with as well.
Yeah, the weather's definitely excuse me, gone proper cold, as we talked about last week. It's not as cold as it was at the height of last week, but it's it's that horribly wet chilly here in Bristol.
Yeah.
So yeah, again, leaning towards, despite starting the day with an IPA, I'm leaning towards heartier beers. Is sort of starting to become my MO. That's what I'm trying to say. Good Lord, losing my words.
Right. I think I need to take a break for a minute. I think I just had a bit of a technical hiccup. So we'll be back in 30 seconds. And we're back. That definitely wasn't 30 seconds for you guys. It was a little bit longer for us. Little technical hiccup. But we're over, we're done, we're good. And we're drinking beers. So let's move on to our first topic of the evening.
Oh yeah, that thing.
Yeah.
I was supposed to do a thing. Yeah, no. We talked a bunch about Blizzard last week. So since then, Blizzard released an apology of sorts. Roughly, we didn't live up, so we moved too quickly in our decision, and then to make matters worse, we were too slow to talk with all of you. We didn't live up to the high standards we set for ourselves. We failed in our purpose. This is CEO, what's his name? President Jalen Brack. He also said, things like, I'm sorry, accept accountability. What exactly is our purpose? BlizzCon is demonstrating blah, blah, blah. And then basically pivoted the apology to talking about what BlizzCon is about and how great the community is, and that's what they value. That's essentially, yeah.
Yeah.
And then basically he said that Blitzchung, the streamer who said the thing about free Hong Kong, his on-stream statements were against the rules. Every voice matters, and we strongly encourage everyone in our community to share their viewpoints in the many places available to express themselves. However, the official broadcast needs to be about the tournament and to be a place where all are welcome. In support of that, we want to keep the official channels focused on the game. Yeah.
It's not really an apology, is it? It's like it's a weird apology. It's kind of an apology to the wrong people. Like, it's not an apology to the people that were banned. It's an apology to kind of the fans who are there anyway.
We're sorry you're mad at us.
Who are still going to play Diablo 4 and all the other games
10.
anyway. Like,
yeah. It's really disappointing to have a non-apology after this much time. The one thing that's super important is in the apology they didn't actually mention the incident or Blitzchung or anyone. They just sort of said we didn't explain what the decision was. They literally just said we're sorry for that thing. And it was only in an afterward, like the thing about Blitzchung was a not part of the official apology statement. That was other commentary. It's just real disappointing. Because it's clear that they are it's a PR thing.
Absolutely.
They have said nothing remotely close to what counts as an apology.
And we get this a lot in gaming when people do something wrong or a company kind of transgresses in some kind of way. They seem to come out and sort of say, we're sorry we did a thing, we won't do it again, but we might do it again. So, and nothing ever really feels... just doesn't feel very truthful. Doesn't feel like it actually comes from anything more than just needing to say something. They had to say something. So they decided to say the easiest thing they possibly could, really.
Yeah. It's like when you see a bad relationship and the couple has a fight because one of them's done something real stupid, and they basically say, "I'm sorry, you're mad at me."
It is.
Right?
Yes, it is. That's exactly what it is.
It's like, well, that's not a good apology. You're not actually sorry for what you did. This is terrible. This is unhealthy.
Yep, absolutely.
It's just and like the later comments, and Brack just did an interview with PC Gamer that I'll talk about in a second. But the later comments about the specific thing are just so disingenuous. Every voice matters except for this voice that's speaking about this cause.
Yeah,
literally, that's not how universal quantifiers work.
Yeah, I think he's trying
what
to...
you're saying is no voice matters.
Yeah.
You don't want to hear anything about anything. That's different. Like, sorry, you were saying?
No, I was going to say almost exactly the same thing. It's just you can't if you exclude one voice, then you just then it's not all voices. It doesn't matter what you're saying is meaningless. It means nothing by excluding this one voice and essentially saying, well, all voices matter, but not here.
Yeah.
Not on this official thing. Only where you want to do that yourself away from us and not to affiliate yourself with us or use our stuff for any kind of purpose. And it just plays into what we were saying previously around the idea of Blizzard courting China and the market and that sort of thing, really. So it's just, again, as you say, it's a very PR kind of way of going about things to try and appease kind of almost all parties, except obviously the ones that were actually affected.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if you actually read what they're saying, this isn't a place to have this type of opinion, so no voice is allowed here. So then when they say every voice matters, what they mean is, in other contexts, every voice should have its own space. Guess what, Blizzard? You don't have control over those contexts, so then it's a vacuous expression. Just if you delimit things these ways, then you're saying, look, we think we have the right to police what you're doing outside of the game, and we're saying we won't police it. That's the only way that isn't vacuous, is if they presume that they are granting this as a power outside of where they have power.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is obviously not what they think, so it must be vacuous, right? Like, this is just... It shows how PR focused a lot of their messaging has been for a while, and it was just that their perceived wokeness was interpreted on good faith, and now it's like, I don't think that good faith was earned.
Yeah, absolutely. It'd be interesting to see, whether they've been using kind of like a third-party kind of PR company, whether, obviously, they're part of Activision. Activision are an absolutely massive company who you would imagine would have their own PR, on top of Blizzard's own PR, and whether this is worked through so many different levels of PR kind of people just to ensure that there is like a very unambiguous non-apology while still trying to sort of like placate their main audience, I suppose, the people who are going to then buy Diablo 4 and Overwatch 2 and all these other things that we have.
Yeah. So just to show that we're not over-interpreting things, just going to say a brief thing from the PC Gamer article.
Yeah.
Interview. So the official broadcasts are about the game, not about and so it wasn't about the content of Blitzchunk's message. It was about basically the fact that it was a message and not about the game.
Mm-hmm.
Quote, if we hadn't taken action, if we hadn't done something, you can imagine the trail that would be in our future around doing interviews. They would become times for people to make a statement about whatever they want to on whatever issue. That's just a path that we don't want to go down. We really want the content of those official broadcasts to be focused on the games to keep that focus. Okay, go fuck yourself. That's a slippery slope argument that
Absolutely.
is totally unfounded.
Yeah.
It's just the sleaziest thing you could say is, we had to do this because think of the possible world where people did this all the time. How about you don't punish the person because this was unprecedented and no one had done it before?
Yeah.
And then you say, look, this isn't appropriate, so from now on, people, this is the type of suspension you can expect.
Yeah, absolutely.
That would be a grown-up, mature way of doing it. Not being like, well, what if he did it? What if everyone else did it? So we had to be mean to him.
Absolutely. And you can see them trying to work it into a way of like, what if someone said something that was really offensive or backed fascism or did something in some way, we're gonna this is the way we're gonna do it. But if someone had turned around and be like, hey, love everybody, they weren't gonna, that's a message, that's a very clear statement from somebody on how they feel about things. They're not gonna ban that person, are they?
They definitely have to. In fact, it'd be really interesting if you went back and see if someone
absolutely.
said, I love all you. Or, like anything that's sort of vaguely about the community but not about the game. If you see those statements previously unpunished, then we should... Listeners, go look to see if that's the case, and then fucking tweet them, shouldn't this person have been banned?
Absolutely, yeah. Based on your own statements, this person should be banned for life from whatever game you do. Yeah. Anyway. More big companies just doing what the fuck they like.
Yep, well, not quite what they like. What they think they have to get the monies.
Well, yes, that's true. That's very true, yeah. Yeah. Just like the world, governments of the world. Anyway, we don't make political statements on this podcast whatsoever.
No, we are the Ubisoft.
Yeah. Oh dear. Obviously everything we say is not political. Nothing at all. Fuck the Conservatives. So, should we move on? Should we move on a little bit?
Epstein didn't kill himself. Yeah. I think we should.
Yes.
It's one of those things we don't usually double down on topics, but I mean, I think this was a big deal. It showed, and yeah, it was worth talking about simply because it's like this new dimension's so stupid, and like obviously like just so brazenly corporate.
Yeah.
Rather than like maybe human.
Yeah, I think we could probably, all of our segments seem to sort of drift in and out of episodes. We never really have continuous segments. They kind of just come back as they kind of happen. Yeah. I think Corporate Corner could make an appearance kind of every now and again, where some corporation has just been awful to people and then come out and said, "Well, we're sorry that you think this. Buy our games." Speaking actually of this, I've been playing a game that ties in quite well. I've started Telltale's The Walking Dead, the final season. Another corporation that didn't do quite right by its employees many months ago now, actually. We talked about that before. I kind of just want to talk about the game a little bit today.
So did you've played all the previous seasons, yeah?
No.
So this is okay.
I played
you played some of them.
Yeah, I played season 1 and season 2, and that's where I fell off because they were on season 1 and season 2 were on PlayStation 3, which is where I played them.
Right.
I don't know why I didn't. Maybe just because I didn't think about it. When I got rid of the PS3, I didn't back up any kind of save data. I don't know even whether it would have come across into the newer versions, or at least the PS4 versions, to know whether the consequences of my decisions and actions would have carried over anyway. So I didn't pick up season 3 when it came out. And I did pick up the final season, pre-ordered it in fact, because I got all of the previous games for free, I think it was. And it was about 20 quid for basically all of the Telltale Walking Dead games. And that includes the Michonne little episode thing that they did as well, which I haven't played either. But the final season kicks off with Clem and AJ, and I kind of knew a little bit of what to expect going into it because I'd seen a few sort of playthroughs and interviews and things about it when it was kind of first revealed, and saw a few people kind of playing through the first sort of area, I suppose, or at least the first kind of few scenes. So I kind of knew what to expect going into this. What I didn't expect was how it actually starts you off by recounting the previous seasons. It just hits the major points, and it actually makes you make a few decisions in that. So
that's a nice compromise for not having to save.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. So it basically sort of it goes through, and you get to that final point in season 1 where you're Clem, you're stood there with the gun, and Lee is essentially dying, and it says, "Did you let Lee turn, or did you shoot him?" And I know that in season 1 I shot him, and at least in all of the decisions that I made on the season 1 and season 2 kind of recap, I picked, or at least I picked what I thought I had picked. Right. Season 3 was a bit different because I know nothing about season 3, which is a bit of a shame, and I'll get onto that in a minute. But as soon as that question popped up about Lee, I just felt it hit me. I'm like, fuck. That's like stuck with me. That is absolutely stuck with me. And it's another kind of moment, almost the same sort of thing as when Sarah dies at the start of The Last of Us. It was like those...
Spoilers, I haven't played it yet.
Absolute...
yeah, that's fair.
So it's kind of like those moments, and both of those happened before I'd had a kid, and I don't know whether they've kind of resurfaced now because I'm thinking, oh fuck, like actually, relating to characters and stuff in a little more of the actual relationships that I now have, which is possibly why it's now kicked back up. But so I started this game off already on an emotional kind of high. And as I'm kind of recounting through the other seasons, it's stuck with me, and I can feel it in my throat and in my chest. I'm like, fucking hell, this game it's already got me. With something that happened years ago, I'm already straight back in. I'm already straight invested in this. So the thing that's kind of pulled me out a little bit is not playing season 3. Because it relates, or at least from what I know of the recap and of season 3, it relates quite heavily. You're Clem, and you're looking after a boy called AJ, and I think, in season 2, you start to look after AJ as he's a baby, and some things happen, and you get separated, and there's a big thing kind of at the end of that about AJ not being there, or being like just someone's discarded him, so there's a big fight about it and things like this. But he's not, and Clem gets him back and ends the season with him. I think that's how you have to end a season, I would imagine, as he is then carried on through the game. Right. But I've then got this, as I'm playing through the final season, I've got this connection to Clem. And I absolutely, kind of every decision that she makes, I'm like, right, I really need to think about this. Like, how am I going to play this? I have that connection with her. I want to kind of do the best by her that I can in the situations that come up. But I don't have that connection with AJ. And I don't know whether, if I'd have played season 3, whether I would have that connection with AJ. And it's quite an interesting kind of thing to play this game thinking, well, sometimes I've got to make decisions for the, Clem would be making decisions for him, but I'm kind of making decisions for Clem, like what's best for her, not necessarily what's best for him and her.
Oh, I see. Yeah. So yeah, you're viewing yourself as like directing her.
Yeah.
Not playing as her.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So it's kind of that's kind of pulled me away a little bit, not a huge amount at all, and I mean it's lots of different ways that it's kind of keeping me and pulling me through. Like, it's written very well, as all of the seasons of The Walking Dead I played have been. The second one not as good as the first season, but the final season it feels like it's picked back up, and it is written quite well. There's interesting characters. I'm pulled into the story. I want to know more about the people that I'm with. I'm Clem, who is now late teens, I would say, maybe 18, 19, maybe 20, but around about that kind of age. So, and she's late teenager, she's badass, and I'm like, yes, this is like, it's such a great point to put me back in as her, after having been a protector to her. Then playing her kind of as a very young girl, and trying to relate to that, to then have her at this moment in time, at this age, is really good to kind of see that all the way through. And the other things that keep me going are, it's got some of the original score, so I'm getting hit by that as well. Like, I pause it and I'm like, fuck, it's the same music. Oh, that just kind of like, it just hits you a little bit, and it looks absolutely fantastic. And it's something I knew after seeing some of the previews when it was first released. But they've managed to, and I don't know whether season 3 is the same as this, because again, I've not really seen anything of that, but they've managed to change the kind of the artistic style, so the characters still look similar to how they did in the previous seasons. There's still that kind of comic booky, cel-shaded-ish kind of aesthetic to them, but the backgrounds and the buildings just have this beautiful tone to them, almost as if they are straight from a comic book page. It's not a video gamey 3D-ish kind of adaptation of a comic book. These look super layered, really deep. They use blacks in the most beautiful way, and it just looks phenomenal. And if you haven't seen if you've not played The Walking Dead at all, then go and see season 1 and look at a screenshot of that. Try and find like a landscape or an outside sort of scene, and then look at a shot from season 4, and you'll see like such a dramatic difference from the two of them. And I think that actually it is such a shame that this wasn't able to kind of go any further in this kind of iteration, or how this kind of looks now, using this artistic style to move forward with these kinds of games. Because it just looks phenomenal. It's really, really striking. But apart from that, it's a Telltale Walking Dead game. You're making decisions, you can choose to take things, go different places, pick different things up, choose to side with people, do lots of various things that then affect the story, affect the relationships that you have with people. And it's, I don't know much about the third season, but at least in this one, so far everything has kind of, or at least I think I'm through the second act of the second chapter, or the second episode, let's say. So I played the first episode, I'm about halfway through the second episode, and everything has kind of happened all in the same location. So you're at a school, or an old boarding school with a bunch of kids, all the adults have gone, and it is just kind of like the kids running the school. Or not running the school as such, but just surviving, and that is where they are staying. And everything kind of happens in and around the grounds. So you go to the woods, which aren't too far away. You go down to the river, which isn't too far away. The first scene happens in a train station, which is really close to the school. So everything has kind of happened around this location, and I'm kind of be interesting to see if throughout the 4 episodes that it does all stay around that single location or not. In the first season, you were moving around quite a lot. You went to a few different kind of like key locations. You went to Macon. You were then at the motel. In season 2, you were moving around quite a lot. This is sort of like a theme of The Walking Dead, isn't it? They move around quite a lot. They find somewhere to stay, and it all goes to shit after a couple of months or several weeks or something. They then move around a little bit more, get displaced, go somewhere else, find somewhere to stay for a little bit more time, and then move on. So it'd be interesting to see kind of how that is dealt with within this season as well. Whether you get to the end and it is all just a shit show and everyone just has to leave, or whether you've got a nice I suppose that's a very subjective word in the world of The Walking Dead. You have somewhere to stay, essentially, somewhere safe to be able to live. So I'm super invested, and I kind of just want to keep playing it.
Cool.
Now,
how many episodes are there?
I think there's 4 episodes in the final season, I think.
And you're
there
two
are
in?
there are 4 episodes, and I think each episode has 3 acts. So
and you're on Act 2.
So I'm on Act 2 of episode 2. So I'm about a third of the way through the entire thing, or 2/5 of the way through. I can't do that quick math in my head. But I do remember that each of the previous, or at least season 1 and 2, had I think 5 episodes, and they were split into maybe 5 chapters per episode or something like that. And this maybe seems like a little bit more condensed, and that kind of makes sense based on the conditions that it was made under, and then sort of like the teams that were brought back on to do things. I'd like to see how episode 3 and 4 relate sort of like lengthwise and quality wise, because from my understanding episode 2 was pretty much finished when Telltale went bust.
Right.
So I don't think there was a huge amount. I think they kept some people on just to finish it out and release it, if memory serves me correctly. Maybe. So yeah, there's so much about this game that I just want to uncover and keep playing. The story, the characters, and the quality of it, the production around it, and how that's kind of been affected by what happened. So
yeah, so I can't remember what we call it now, rabid reviewers, something like that. I used to have a term for going over the reviews, the negative reviews in Steam. I mean, most of them, the character of that, it is like weird bugs when the game first came out that seemed to be ironed out, and then stuff about things that Blizzard wouldn't allow you to talk about in a review because it's not about the game. But there is so we've got reviewer Pizza Boy
with an I
who says
Pizza Boy as in
boy.
as in the boy that's in the sea.
B-O-I.
No,
B-O-I.
Boy.
Said Ep 1 and 2 got big heart energy. Ep 3 and 4 suck PP.
Oh.
This team review doesn't have a meh, so final verdict is no.
Oh.
And there's another person said, Dakan says, the last 2 episode gameplay mechanics were just horrid. Could not even deal with it. Horrid.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so that's why I was wondering where you were at, because if you were in Ep 3 and were like, things are okay, then I wouldn't be too worried. Yeah, so I'm not going to bother with any other reviews. Most of them are about, like I said, about Telltale.
Yep.
But
as you'd expect with the Steam review.
I guess, yeah. So I just thought it'd be worth floating this to your attention, not to color it, but to warn you. I guess that it might not be the best.
Okay, that's fine. I'll still play it. Kim joined me about... she joined me towards the last act of the first episode and has seen or has watched what I played of the second episode so far, and she's invested as well. She keeps shouting things at me when there's decisions to kind of be made and things. She's a very good kind of backseat decision maker. She wasn't so good when we played Erica together, and I gave her the pad, and she had to make those decisions herself, and I just shut the fuck up and let her play the game.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, but now I've got the pad. She's like, do this, or no, not even do this. She will just shout the answer that she would like to say at the screen. And I'm like, that is what I was going to pick. And then I'll pick something else. She's like, oh, I wouldn't have picked that. I'm like, I know, you told me. You said what you were going to pick. It's fine. This is what I'm going to pick.
I am driving. You choose not to drive. Would you like to drive?
Exactly, and it would be interesting. I mean, to watch her play through just season 4 and see the kind of decisions she makes would be interesting in how, having no relationship to any of the characters at all, how that affects the decisions that she makes.
Yeah.
There's definitely a good experiment in there somewhere. Not that I'm actually going to undertake that. I don't think Kim really has the time to watch me play it and then or disappear now.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think you guys would be bored of that
Absolutely. Game. Yeah, absolutely. So, let's move on from Telltale's The Walking Dead, the final season. Are you ready for another beer?
Sorry, you cut out, unfortunately.
Are you ready for another beer?
I am ready for another beer. Let me just slide that. Oh, no. Pretend the laptop's not there. Yes. Yeah. Make space for beer. I got a lovely birthday present from really good friends of mine.
Oh, who was that?
Some jackass named Ben. It's the 2-old Jule Maelk.
Maelk. Yeah, I think it's Maelk.
I assume it. Yeah, Maelk. Yeah. It is. Oh yeah, it's an Imperial Milk Stout. Xmas is here, and Santa has brought some of his evil black Xmas milk. Watch out for this vicious elf spear. A 15% super tanker Imperial Milk Stout. Doesn't say much more than that, but it's 2-old. It's an Imperial Stout, and it's 15%. Yeah. I can't remember the last time I had a fuck you beer of this quality.
I think as well, it's they haven't brewed any more, so I think it's last year's batch, which I think again was aged very slightly, if I remember correctly. I'm not sure.
It doesn't say that on the bottle.
No.
But, you know.
Well, it's at least aged a year.
Yeah, cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so I am going to I'm drinking a stout as well, but this is Papa's Vanilla Stout. This is from Pyynikin, Pyynikin, Pyynikin maybe, from Finland. There's 0 flavour text. It is, as I say, a vanilla stout. It is 6.8%. What have you done? What have you done? You've not spilt it.
No, it's just the nose is like cascading through the air just on the pour to my face. I was just, as you were talking, I'm like, I can smell that. I was like doing a far pour.
Yeah.
And then realizing that this is a really weird way to pour. It's just too high up, and then my pour was getting worse. And then just by bringing it down, the airflow from that just made me smell the beer.
Nice. Is it boozy? Is it a boozy nose? I expect it is.
Yeah, it's that lovely sweet. It's almost sweet and cherries with hit me, to be honest.
Oh yeah.
Just like sweet, fruity, like alcohol sweet, like just like yeah, like a fruity, boozy waft. Look at that head. It's not going anywhere anytime soon. Wasn't the best pour. I've got 3 fingers of it. No, 2 fingers of it. I can count. But yeah, it's like, I don't know, for those of you on the YouTubes, you can see tilting, the head just doesn't quite move.
Thick.
Yeah, it's thick's the right. It's also like black,
Yeah.
but the head is more brown than the stouts you've been having. Or was it a stout last as well?
No,
Yeah,
porter was the first one. Yeah.
it was a porter. Sorry, yeah, your porter and stout both had sort of fairly like white, creamy, slight
Yeah,
beige.
The head on this stout is a little browner than the porter is. It's getting close to yours, yeah.
Yeah,
My
but
camera
look
might
at
not
those bubbles.
refocus.
They're
There you go.
they're not going anywhere. Actually, the resolution on the camera is pretty good to see just how big the bubbles are in this head.
Yeah.
And the fact that none of them are popping.
I'm not sure what mine's picking up, so not quite. There,
There
it is.
oh, wait, there you go. Yeah, so it's similar.
quite.
Not as big, but also clearly thick.
Yeah.
Lasting.
Head cam. Oh dear.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, that nose is just sweet, slightly malty. And again, a slight fruitiness. Maybe cherry's probably too strong. Cherry-like
Yeah.
fruitiness. Doesn't quite have that, like, that sort of unique tart fruitiness that cherries has. It just kind of, it kind of reminds me of like a cheap cherry chocolate. That initial hit, just that initial hit of like, oh yeah, that's chocolate and fruit. That's I think something of that character's coming off in the nose.
Nice.
Yeah.
Get it down you, get it in you. Unless the head is still too thick to penetrate.
I was thinking maybe I'd wait a little.
All right,
bit. It's not
we'll
going
come
anywhere.
back. We'll come back to you. This vanilla stout, definitely getting that off the nose. Definitely hit with vanilla. I'm wondering whether the Baltic Porter had whether that was what I was getting, a slight hint of vanilla, perhaps, because it's got a similar kind of nose. But this vanilla stout, the vanilla is obviously turned up massively, so getting a lot of that on the nose. Thinking about it, the Baltic Porter isn't quite like this, so. But it's got a nice nose to it. It is another big black beer with a little brown head to it. It's just as smooth and just as thin as the Baltic Porter. It doesn't have much sort of viscosity to it. It's quite thin in the taste as well. I'm getting a lot of vanilla. And then I'm getting a little bit more of almost like a cheap cola kind of flavour to it. I mean, it is a vanilla stout, so it doesn't say there's any kind of coffee or anything else in with this. And I'm not really getting much more from it. It's kind of a vanilla flavour, a hint of sweetness, which kind of just feels a little bit, kind of a little bit artificial. So you could almost mistake this for a. You could mistake this for like a Captain Morgan's and cheap Coke that's been sat out for an afternoon. It does have a little bit of a little roasted note to it, kind of right at the end, hidden away. That you can see it's trying to come through, but there's a lot of vanilla in this, and it is like dominated by that vanilla,
Right.
which is fine. I'm not a huge fan of vanilla in these kinds of instances. I don't like, I love rum. I'm not a man who likes vanilla in my rum. I don't know why.
Do you like spiced rum at all?
I like spiced rum. I do like spiced rum. but
just not
the
like
vanilla, not
the added
Captain
vanilla,
Morgan's, not the ones that really lent into the vanilla-y kind of thing. Like Captain Morgan's used to be completely different until like, how old am I now? 35. So 15 years ago, maybe a little bit more than that. Captain Morgan's and Morgan Spice Rum, and a lot of the spiced rums used to be a little bit different, and a lot of them, Sailor Jerry's as well, a lot of them took on a little bit more of that vanilla. Sailor Jerry's more than anyone, actually. A lot of them went really heavy on that vanilla, and I think that was to try and put it out to more of the market, make it a little bit sweeter, a little bit more palatable to a lot of people, and nah, that's not what I want from my rum. I want something completely different. If you want to know what I want from my rum, we did a rum episode about a year ago, just after, around New Year's last year. We did a rum, or I did a rum episode at least, because that's all I had to drink. Fucking loads of bottles of rum that everyone gifted me for Christmas, which, please, do again. That's fine. But it's just, this stout, it's just, perhaps just a little too much vanilla for me, I think.
And now is that so? There's sort of, I like vanilla, but I hate, but I don't strongly like sort of fake vanilla.
Right.
So like, is this that sort of slightly like if you just thrown, so fake vanilla is like, vanilla extract, kind of just or worse, right? Where it's just so intense that it's like, this is vanilla, versus if you cook with something like vanilla bean, you just can never get that intensity because it just isn't concentrated enough. So is it that like powerful notion of vanilla going on there?
It is. I would very much say this is probably extract rather than anything else. It's just, I'm trying to see, there's nothing on here that tells me, again, what is in this, apart from the allergens. That's about it. But I would think that this is extract, and I don't know what it is about the rest of the ingredients kind of coming together, but it definitely has that kind of like that cola, not even Coke, cola, diet supermarket cola sort of taste to it. Just that little bit too kind of sweet element to it, which doesn't quite work, I think, for me. I'm going to drink it. I'm not going to stop drinking it. Can you drink yours yet? You can.
Yeah, I can.
Hooray!
God. You know what it is? That smell? Ooh. Oh, God. That's... Thank you, sir. Happy birthday, me. That is an excellent motherfucking beer.
Good.
Okay, so I can feel that it's strong. Like, even after a sip, I'm like, oh yeah, that clearly was some alcohol. But honestly, like, what gives it away is like the viscosity.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a really good, solid stout. It's got the it coats the tongue. So it's not that thick. I mean, it's thick, but it's not like. Yeah, I guess it's the thickness and the slight viscosity that coats the tongue and allows sort of every point of the tongue to get hit by that flavor. It's actually not. It's deceptively unsweet. It's clearly strong. It's boozy, not boozy, but it's not super sweet. Like sometimes you find in like, given that it's a milk stout, I was expecting like that lactose to be really strong and the sickly sweetness to come in, and or at least I think maybe it's just the layers of the flavor are really well balanced. So what I was going to say about the nose is it's like a cognac or a brandy, that notion of cherry and booze. That's what I realized.
Nice. Yeah.
And it has those same, like, in the taste, it's similar. God, this is a really excellent... Yeah, so I take it back. It's sweet. Second sip. Sweetness just lingers after the first taste. And again, because it's coating my tongue, I think that first sip I must have just thrown back a little too quickly. Because now that it's on my tongue, it's sweet, it's boozy. The fruits there are something like, again, maybe like a kind of like dried, that what happens to the dried fruit is like raisins or dried cherries, or just sort of one step removed from. I think that's where I was thinking it's like cherry, but a step less.
Yeah.
So I'm getting that the notions of dried fruit. It's malty, but not overly so. Again, I really like the idea of like something like brandy or cognac being sort of one of the base layers of this. It's really, really excellent. I really like it. I'm a little afraid of how quickly I might drink this 15% beast. This is the type of beer that you don't need to reach for. It leaves you wet. The taste is quite long, the finish. But I want more than the finish.
Yeah. Yeah. Makes sense. Well, should we move on and talk about something else? So you've got a little time between sips, so it doesn't go back quite as quickly. Yes. I know there was something else you wanted to discuss this week, so we'll come back to you.
Moved the laptop so that I can look at the thing, which is...
This is Lucy's topic, by the way.
Oh, is it really?
Maybe.
Did I steal Lucy's?
Well, she's not.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. I see what, so Lucy's topic... Sorry, man, I'm slow. I'm already getting boozed up. So Steam released an update that was actually different than just bug fixes for the first time in a millennia.
I mean, it's crazy. Crazy.
Yeah. And an actual full aesthetic overhaul.
Yeah.
So I just thought we would talk about that. Before we talk about the details and what we think, I suspect the reason is because losing market share to Epic, the thing that people are really complaining about and have been is the lack of functionality and polish on the Epic launcher. Mm-hmm. So it makes tons of sense that they're going to double down on, even if it's mostly aesthetics, just showing off. Like, look at these features. Look how great we are. We're the only game store you should care about because we're fancy.
Yeah, completely. Right?
Yeah. So I don't even know how to describe these changes. Mostly, instead of everything's got a thumbnail, essentially.
I mean, and it's something you could do previously. So previously, you could list your games in the way that, not quite in the way that they've done it now, but you used to be able to have a thumbnail rather than just a list of them. You used to be able to have a thumbnail for each of the games, and they seem to have kind of like adopted that now as the default, essentially. So with alongside every name, there is a little thumbnail, as you say, and it's made each of the entries a little bit bigger as well, so the text is a little bit larger than they previously were.
So on the left hand side, because everything's got a thumbnail, even on the just the list of games on the sort of menu, left hand menu. Yep. Because everything has a thumbnail, they've increased the size. You're right, and then the main view is also the sort of rectangular cover art of everything. As the default view, which is really interesting because most indie games obviously just had their widescreen thumbnail that the Steam store needed, and so now one thing I don't like is that if that's the only art they have, it means that they will just put that kind of 4/5 up in the rectangle and then clearly generate colors as a background to make a cover, but it means the actual title is really small compared to the other games because it's literally using maybe a quarter or probably less of the real estate of the thing, because when you have a cover art that's rectangular, like portrait oriented as your default, and then you're just slapping on a landscape orientation of the previous cover art, and you're bound by the width, and so they just fit that to the frame. So again, there's like a fifth of the screen of the space on the entry above, and then 3/5 below of just empty space. And so you only have functionally can see the cover, the widescreen old cover art in a really tiny way, and it's just I like what they do with like dragging the colors out to fill the empty space, but I don't like that everything else looks so good. It's so polished looking, but then I'm just looking at my thing now. Like, I have a game called Arclash Legacy, and because their standard, like their old Steam standard cover art is like a big face, presumably that's Arclash, and then smaller writing. Now that it's like a tiny part of their cover, I can't actually read it from here. Like my laptop is less than an arm's length away, and I can't read it. And that's just a shame, because it seems like obviously certain developers can have the big cover art or have figured out they should release that, but like going this big in a way that where your previous requirement doesn't work just sucks. So the more indie games I have, the harder it is for me to look through my library.
Yeah, I don't think it's just necessarily indie games. I think it's a lot of maybe older games that haven't been updated for quite a while. So to take a game that we haven't ever spoken about, Super Hexagon, that is obviously, it has this elongated, trying to fit into that portrait, the old banner art to fit into this space.
Banner art, that's the term I was missing, yeah.
Whereas you look at some of them, and I mean, some people must have, these developers knew that this was coming, so they could create these thumbnails for the games. I mean, two on my list on my home screen now, which are very close to each other: Subsurface Circular and Quarantine Circular, and they look fantastic. Far Lone Sails looks absolutely beautiful, even as just that image, as that portrait image for it. Her Story looks like an old VHS cover, like a cardboard cover for a VHS. And that's kind of the aspect ratio they've gone for. It does look like almost like a VHS kind of ratio.
Yeah, it's definitely. It's even more rectangular than like modern video game covers.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it is. It is, and it works well for a lot of the Massive Chalice. Looks lovely. Her Story, as I say, looks really good. There is a game, and one of the things that you know what's in your Steam library. Most people know what's in their Steam library. One of the games that we've talked about is Frog Detective, and they've obviously updated their thing, because it's the game is called The Haunted Island, a Frog Detective game, but on the thumbnail it says Frog Detective 1. Grace Bruxner presents The Haunted Island, a Frog Detective game. And a lot of that text is tiny. It's really, really small. So Grace Bruxner presents and a Frog Detective game are in brackets, and it's very small. And actually, really, the only thing you can read as you're scrolling through quite quickly is Frog Detective 1. But apart from these kind of like small issues, I think this new view, this new kind of screen, it presents itself in a really nice way. And whilst it kind of shows you all of your games, it does then list above that, kind of as you go straight to your home screen, it gives a listing of things that are new. So I think what's new updates from from posts on their pages. So actually the second one for me is City Skylines, and it's talking about top 10 mods and assets of October. It then scrolls down to recent games, so you can very quickly jump back into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, almost 7 games listed at least, or at least shown on the screen that I have.
I think it's more on recent games. It's more than that. I think that's just the only recent 7 games.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I can scroll across, and it is a lot more games than that. It's probably about 15 in total, but I can see just on my screen straight away the last kind of 7 games that I have.
Sorry, I thought you meant the total list. Although for me, I've got Leaving Lindo. For some reason, it's the last one that's just new to the library, and it's like, because its cover art is in the banner style. Yeah, it actually takes the space of over 2 spots.
Oh, really?
In the recent games. It just it's like the full banner art, which take like if I had 2 of the regular like VHS style ones. I would have 7, but right now I only have 6 things because this one's really wide. Yeah, which is interesting, and at least I think that's better to make it double wide for like the recent games versus just the general list. Yeah, so that's a nice touch that I'm glad they thought of. Yeah, absolutely. I'm a little torn on what's new, mostly because I don't want to have the sales tactics in my library. I
Yes.
liked that in the old way I just had the list.
Mm.
I'm looking at my library, I don't need to know any of the things, and the first thing I see is, like, especially on a small screen like the laptop, like, almost a third of the real estate on the home screen is this what's new, and that's the home screen of the library tab, right? Like, it's not the home screen of Steam, and
Yeah,
I kind
I
of
get
don't
that.
want any of this garbage.
Yeah.
Have you had a lot of time to poke through?
I kind of have, and I mean, so they've changed. If you hover over a couple of the tabs, so store is the same, but library is different now. You essentially have home and you have collections, and downloads as well. Taking you back to
used
when
to be your filtered
yeah.
categories.
So collections looks like something that would be quite nice. It's not something I've invested in or actually made any collections yet, but it's nice to have some other way to kind of categorize different games.
So I used to do that a lot.
Yeah.
So for example, like I've got a Call of Duty, there were categories before, and that way I could just and I've got like an FPS category and other things, so I could just minimize them or like open on the main library list, just collapse that and not deal with it, or open it up. And so like I've got Star Wars as a category as well, Lego. And what I like about the categories, they're now collections, is a single game can be in multiple categories.
Yeah.
So like the Lego Star Wars games are in my Lego collection and also my Star Wars collection. But that way, if I'm looking for a Lego game, I see that this is one of them. I'm looking for a Star Wars game, I see it's one of them. What I like about clicking on the collections now is then it just changes the whole. Like then you're just seeing the cover art of that collection. Like if I click on COD, then I see the 15 CODs I have.
Yeah.
Clicking on a game is the same. It takes you to the game page. Here's a thing I'm going to ask you to do. Sorry, I kind of hijacked you. Did you want to say anything else about collections?
No, I was just going to, whilst you were doing that, I was just going to try and make a collection very, very quickly. Just to kind of to see what you were talking about, essentially.
Right.
I think I picked something that I don't actually have that many examples of to then put into a collection. I've only got one, and it's the older landscape style fit into the portrait thing that I've actually thrown in there. So I'm not going to bother doing that. I do like how home is now a big button, and you can just kind of click that, and it takes you back to that space.
While I don't appreciate the what's new row on home, I do appreciate the recent games just being there right at the top. I think, as you mentioned, that's just really handy.
Yeah.
And then just having all games. But if you click into the search,
yep,
search something like Star Wars or Batman.
Yeah.
So it's first of all, you might notice that it's sort of it's an autocomplete type search, like it's already going through. But I hit enter, nothing happens. I want my search results to fucking populate on the big screen. I'm still on the same.
Yeah.
That's really frustrating.
Yeah, I can see that. Absolutely. Yeah, and I mean, I just put in. I was typing star, but I had typed star and it came up with a few games. So I deleted R and I just got STA. So a few more games come up. Yeah. Delete the A and ST. So anything with an ST. Oh no, not even.
It shows up.
Yeah, it shows up. So there's a lot of games. There's a lot of games there. A lot of videos are listed. A lot of tools that kind of I've just randomly got.
Yeah.
On here,
the tools and stuff I wish weren't there.
Yeah.
Well, I don't mind actually, but like I like the idea of auto populating the search results dynamically instead of. But the fact that I can't say I'm done with my search term and then see the results on most of the real estate is real frustrating.
Yeah, I can see that. What would be interesting is I'm trying to think of a game. So I've so another thing that I like about it is when you actually click into a game, it takes you to a big page about a game. So I, for instance, have clicked into Cycle 28. And it comes up, there's a nice big banner on there. There's a big button which says play. It then tells me when I last played it, tells me the play time, tells me the achievements I've got, and then it runs down into sort of like activity and news, friends who've played, achievements, lots of different kinds of things. I like this. I like this kind of new way to sort of see things. You know, the play button used to be quite small, really. You didn't have to search for it. It's still that big green. It's still that green button, but at least on the new update, it's a big green button. What I would like a little bit more of, and it's something that you see on the Steam store page, is it gives you the information, tells you who the developer is, tells you, you know, who the publisher was and things like that. It would be nice if that was on here as well, as sort of like one of the things that popped straight
Instead
up.
of having to click this tiny store page button underneath.
Yeah, I mean,
and wait for the whole thing to re-resolve.
Yeah, you can. So there's an information button over on the other side, and it's about showing more details, and that will bring up more details. It tells you what kind of game it is, whether it's got achievements, whether it's got controller support, cloud saves,
So,
who's
where
made
is
it.
that?
So on the right-hand side, there is an eye, in a circle, an information button, next to a manage and a favorites.
Okay.
You can click that and you go. But the one thing I thought I would try and do, which I would really appreciate, is in the search terms, if I could search for a developer or a publisher and all of the games I had from them came up in the search. Can't do that. So
yeah, that's a really good point.
Cycle 28, made by Pillbug Interactive. I've typed Pill into the search, and the only game that comes up is Pillars of Eternity. It would be nice if I had games, Pillars of Eternity, developer or publisher or however that, you know, just that additional criteria to be able to search by would be nice.
Well, and they have the advanced filtering option. So if you click on the advanced thing, it'd be nice if you could, although for some reason I can't right now.
Yeah, well, you've got a search term in there, you can't click on advanced filtering.
Yeah, that's really strange and dumb. But yeah, that would be a place where you could, like, I'm fine with it just in generically looking at game titles, but being able to use that search in the library page the same way would be really great. You're right. I will say that if you look at the search results to the right of it, because I'm doing this all on the Mac. I have 3 extra ways of sorting the search results. One shows an Apple, and it says show only games that run on Apple.
Oh, nice.
Second one is sort by recent activity, which is a clock icon, which I'm assuming you have.
Yep.
And then the third one I have is show only ready to play games. They're installed or can be streamed. Which if I click that, I only get Lego Batman the video game because my main PC has that installed. No, it doesn't, actually. That button doesn't work.
That's what I've just found.
So the clock works.
Hang on.
The Apple button doesn't work for me, nor does the ready to play game.
Yeah.
What? Okay, let me just try the word super. Yeah, these buttons are fake.
Yeah, absolutely.
The only one that works is sort by recent activity.
We've now just turned into a review of the new Steam update, essentially, and a walkthrough of our thoughts on the new Steam update. So, that's fine. That's fine to do right now, right? That's okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm liking it. I like the new change to it. One thing I kind of did want to kind of say is it almost echoes GOG Galaxy 2.0 a little, in that that when you click into that kicks up straight away at the top.
Are you?
With
you're on that beta, right?
Sorry. Yes. Yeah. It is in beta. I am in the beta for it. That kicks up with 3 games, and I can scroll across for more. But 3 games recently played by me, and that lists games across collections, all of the things that I have added to this. So that's picking up my, it's picking up Epic, it's picking up GOG, it's picking up Steam, Uplay, PlayStation. So loads of, all of my libraries that I have connected to this, it's picking up. So it tells me recently played, and I think it should probably update. Oh, I know why. Oh, that's strange. So it hasn't updated actually. It's the previous games it's showing me is the Shazern, Greedfall, and Batman. They're only PlayStation games, so it's not showing me anything additionally that I have played unless I scroll through. But that has adopted a portrait style thumbnail system. So everything there is in a a box art level kind of ratio. And then underneath that, it tells me different things. So underneath that, it says how many games have been added to the large library, how many achievements I've got through that, how many hours have been played, and then underneath it lists all of the games that have been recently added. And then on the left of that screen, there's lots of different tabs. I can click into each of those different libraries. I can click into activities to see what I've done, different achievements that I've got. I can look at any friends that are online, but that brings up another tab, as does Steam anyway. And then it takes me, which is just
yeah.
So it seems that both of these systems, this update to Steam and Gold Galaxy 2.0, are moving a little bit to a little bit different ratio for kind of the art that they are showing. So yeah, I don't know why we've moved to that sort of box art ratio of things. I can see there's one over here because GOG also says recently played by others, as Steam now does as well. And it says Luigi Mansion 3, Red Dead Redemption 2, Call of Duty Modern Warfare, Planet Zoo, and Hearthstone. They're the 5 that automatically kick up for me. Hearthstone,
right.
Has the word Hearthstone at the bottom of the portrait, and then the star logo, which kind of isn't quite fully shown in the portrait view. So how things are being cropped and used. Red Dead Redemption 2 very much looks like the front cover or the box art for the game. Luigi's Mansion 3 is probably very similar. Modern Warfare is probably very similar. Planet Zoo, a little bit different. Just logo slapped in the middle with just a big picture as the background. I think that's kind of what I've taken away from this a little bit more than anything else, is that we're changing how we're displaying our games and how we view them, how we see them, the things that draw us towards them, the logos and the images that people will now be trying to produce to catch our eye and draw us in.
Yeah, I think it's showing that cover art matters, and I'm actually I it's kind of, I think it's, normally one might think, oh, I'm surprised I didn't do more like a physical library type thing with spines, but then it's like, oh wait, you have unlimited space. Of course if you could, you kind of, if you had a bunch of things that had really good cover art, you would not want to just display the spine, so it kind of makes sense that you would have the full front on there, right?
Yeah, it's almost more like a magazine rack, where you can see the magazines laid sort of face up as you kind of present them. Obviously, it's not sort of layered in any kind of way, over the top of each other at all. Magazines very much have to have their the name of the magazine and their logo like at the top of that space because of the way that magazines are kind of layered. The interesting thing is things like the wish list on Steam haven't been updated, so still we're using that landscape image. So things like I've just got like Telling Lies, Eliza, A Short Hike, stuff like that that's on my wish list. That's very much all still in that landscape view. It'd be interesting to see how those Telling Lies very much so, because in the landscape view it's four square images of the characters across the top of that banner, and then Telling Lies, the logo, or at least the words underneath. So I'd assume they just turn it the other way, so they stack down. But Telling Lies is very, very horizontally illustrated on that. So I think I'm finding a little bit more the way things are presented to us is what I'm kind of taking a little bit more from this.
I will say that it's very clear that having the standard cover art is, I think, just, especially on older games, it's just whether you had that and you uploaded it. So I'm looking at, so I have most Final Fantasy games that you can get on the PC from Steam, and 3, 4, the after years, HD Remix 5, 7, 8, 9, all are old school. But then Final Fantasy 13 is like a full cover art.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, no, 8 is a full cover art as well. But 13.2 and Lightning Returns 13.3 are the old way as well. So it's clearly like at some point they're just like, we have this cover art. Someone decided to put the obviously the like disc console version cover art up on the Steam page, but then on the sequels they didn't. Like it's clearly like if we have it, well like clearly they're just searching for is there this aspect ratio. We'll use that. Otherwise, we'll just do these weird things.
Yeah, and
like,
I suppose it comes a little bit from something like Final Fantasy VII and the older Final Fantasy games were different aspect ratios. They would have had PC kind of analogs, which would have come out in sort of bigger box art things.
But like CD cases are almost square.
Yes,
slightly off square, and all these banners I'm looking at are full wide banners. Like Final Fantasy VII, for example. It's not like they just added black around it or white around it or whatever. It's Cloud walking away, Final Fantasy VII. It does the full banner art. It's really nice, but also kind of impossible to read. Because it's dark letters on a dark background.
Yep.
And like 13.2, it's got lightning for half of it, and then like the character lightning. And then the Final Fantasy 13.2 is very small, and it's on some like weird effects. Which, if it was this big, you'd be like, cool, it's just Final Fantasy 13.2. But when it's been shrunk and then put on this fake background sort of portrait, just all I know is there's some girl with pink hair. It's a game that somehow stars, I'm assuming stars, or involves a pink-haired girl.
Yeah.
And, like, yeah, so this will all shake out is the big thing. It's like going forward, obviously everyone knows that they need to have good quality cover art.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
It's just kind of a shame that like it's so hodgepodge. Like looking at like a company like Square Enix, even it's like the only two Final Fantasy games that have full cover happen to be 8 and 13.1. But that doesn't mean... let me double check. Yeah, so now the worst part is because I haven't updated my stupid collection called Final Fantasy, I now start searching Final Fantasy, and I'm like, oh yeah, of course. 12 I bought since there. 10 and 10.2 I've bought since then, updating the collection. I can't see those fucking thumbnails to continue this conversation because the search doesn't give me any results on that view.
Yeah.
So now I just have to fucking scroll to the FIN goddamn section of my fucking 1400 game library. Yeah, at that point I started no longer having anyone's sympathy when I said that last line.
Instantly out the window at that thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean when you're almost at 300 like mine, you know, people can see how you'd want to kind of, you know, stack those in different ways.
Yeah, so 12 is also like that, and so is 15.
Should we move on from this aspect? Is there anything else that you kind of that you think about the new layout like, or that you kind of would prefer, perhaps?
To be honest, what I don't like is so like if you click, you're on home, and then there's a button that looks with the 4 squares, right? That looks like it's so on Windows. That button is changing your view from icons to big icons to list to detail view.
Yep.
It looks like it's doing that, but actually you click on it and it just takes you to your collections, which are already on the left-hand side menu. I don't like that I can't go back to list view.
Yeah.
Or if I can, I have no idea how.
Click home.
Sorry?
That just takes you back to the page.
Yeah, home. So it's like I don't have a choice but seeing it this way.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's my biggest complaint. Although I was whinging about other things, obviously that was just me being hijacked and having too much of this 15% beer too quickly. So harping on the same problem from different angles. But like the actual problem I have is so like on Windows or Mac, like on my OS, there are certain folders. What I like about modern OS is most folders I want detail view. So list of files and a certain set of properties, right? Just columns. Certain things like my pictures folder, I like that they default to medium or small sized thumbnails.
Yeah.
Because, right, and I like that you can just specify from now on, I want this folder to be of this view. This is a step backward because it's like, we're just going to prescribe that this is what we think is the best thing for you to view. Any of your collections, any notion of your library is now, all you can do is look at these pictures. So, for example, me looking up Final Fantasy, given that I have to scroll through the whole library, if it was a list, if I could put it in list view, I would have to scroll way less because there's going to be more titles on screen.
Yep.
Then I could click on the thing and then hit show me the pictures again. That'd be nice, right?
I could do that,
now, but in general, like, if I know what games I want to play, I don't need to see the pictures. And taking away, especially for large libraries, that view seems like a step backward.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, I agree with that, yeah.
And then someone's going to email us and be like, you're an idiot, you have to click on this.
Yeah, more than likely, yeah. Just tell you exactly how it is. Why doesn't this come with some kind of walkthrough? The first time it kicked in, I was like, here is this, here is this, here is this. Oh, well.
Oh, we might have to call this episode Blowing Off Steam.
Yay! Nice, I like it, it's good.
I will say, I don't know if you've looked at the sort by, but they've added new columns, and I find that really cool.
Yes.
So you're on your home screen, you've got the all games. Holy fuck. Sorry, my all games number is changed.
Oh.
I don't know why, because I haven't bought that many games in the past X months. It now says 1,605, where a few months ago it was 1,404.
Is this your Humble Bundle? Just...
No, because I haven't been cashing in the codes.
What's happening?
Like, I literally... I don't know. So that's weird. Sorry, I'm now totally distracted by that. But,
Sort by, they've got lots of nice things. Alphabetical, friends playing, hours played, last played, release date, which I like, size on disc, and Metacritic score. Of course, they've fucking done it by that, haven't they? The top Metacritic score...
I mean, I don't mind that.
No, I mean, the top Metacritic score for the one for my list is actually Civilization 4.
Really?
Yeah, 94%.
Oh. Dude. Bioshock, Half-Life, Half-Life 2, Portal 2, Bioshock Infinite, Divinity Original Sin Enhanced Edition, Elder Scrolls V Skyrim, GTA Vice City, then Civ 4.
Yeah. That's fair enough.
And then Company of Heroes, a game I've never played.
That's an interesting way to do it, though, actually, thinking about it. Cause
I kind of like that.
There's a game in the top, it's like 19th, Icy, it's called, which I haven't played. Played all the rest of them, but I haven't played that one. Maybe I should.
One second. I'm pretty sure your computer is putting my voice out to you, because I can hear it sometimes.
Oh, really?
I don't think you're just outputting to your headphone.
No, it's only coming through my headphone.
I can hear me.
Oh.
On like a delay at some points.
Okay, that's strange.
I don't know if it's doing both, but can you hear me?
Oh, a little.
No,
a little.
Yeah, so I think it's when I've been yelling, which unfortunately is half the episode.
Oh well.
Anyway, yeah. Okay. So unfortunately, not everything has a Metacritic score, so I'm assuming it's just alphabetical after that.
Maybe.
I'm trying to find I want to know what my shittiest reviewed game is.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, but I will say this. Assassin's Creed Black Flag has no Metacritic score?
Yeah, it's very strange. There's
right.
games that definitely should have Metacritic scores. Soul Axiom is my worst, but I mean, like, you'd think Doki Doki Literature Club, you know, stuff like that would. Kingdom, New Lands, Kingdoms and Castles, Knights of Pen and Paper, they don't have.
Wow.
They haven't reached out for.
What's your lowest number?
57.
Oh man, I got you beat like something fierce. My lowest numbers, I have 2 at 38.
Oh!
Do you want to know what they are?
Go for it.
Painkiller Resurrection,
Right.
Do you remember the Painkiller
Yep.
series? Yeah. And Painkiller Recurring Evil. Oh! Yeah.
Shall we finish it there then for the week?
Yeah, I think. So yeah, I like the idea of sorting my friends playing, for example. That's interesting. Although 10-second Ninja's the top of my friends playing list. What does friends playing mean? That they have played or they've played recently?
Not a clue. Yeah.
Because if it's they have played, then it's just games in common, and that's not a good.
Mine is 1001 Spikes. That's the top game from friends playing.
I don't own that game.
And then lots of Armour.
Anyway.
Armour playing fucking Daisy. Modern Armour 2 anymore. Come on now.
Yeah, I think it's just if they have played it rather than
that's a bit
recently.
okay. So there's lots to be desired, I think, with this update. So there are thoughts on the new update. We may if they ever change it or update it some more. In general, a nice change, something good to work with, something good to now kind of give you a different view of of your library and what you've got to play.
And in general, the fact that a lot of Valve's life for the past decade has been just amassing wealth and not doing much innovation.
Yeah.
Even if I have quibbles, I'm happy that it's happened. And I think it's because of market pressures, because like GOG Galaxy 2 and Epic, like GOG Galaxy 2 is like, we can give you better functionality, and Epic's making it clear that why people are fans of them is because of their current functionality, and I think those two pressures have made this happen, and that's really good.
Yeah,
and again,
absolutely,
I think I would be shocked if within a few months there wasn't a way to just get list view back, for example.
Yeah. Yeah, I would imagine that's probably their biggest bit of feedback so far. That they've received. People, not everyone likes change. So yeah, we shall see. We should keep you updated and let you know our thoughts on any that come out for this. So this week, Aadil, you've had 2 beers. No, you haven't finished your second beer yet, but
I've had 2 beers worth of beer from this beer.
Yeah, I think there's a clear winner as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's no contest. I will say the Northern Monk gluten-free IPA Origin is a solid IPA.
Yeah.
It's doing just IPA things in a regular way, but given if one is gluten-free, it's real hard to find any gluten-free beer, let alone just a solid craft beer entry. So I'm actually pretty happy that as a gluten-free beer, it's just being quintessential.
Yeah.
Right, then it's like, I'm looking for an IPA, I can't have gluten. I can have this. It's an IPA. It's exactly what I think an IPA is. That's great.
Nice.
I mean, if we had access to a variety of gluten-free beers, then I'd like to see innovation or something different. But I think this is the right move, right? Just make it clear the standard entry.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this birthday beer that's actually a Christmas beer, it's fucking excellent. If you can find a bottle, definitely have it. Again, that like dried fruit sort of cognac brandy undertones of just this sweet, punchy imperial stout.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's clearly heavy, but actually, to be honest, wasn't sure about the lactose, the milk stout part. But I think that added sweetness is what blends well with the fruits and everything else, and is exactly why it's deceptively 15%, somewhat paradoxically.
Yeah.
Because they've had that outer sweetness, it's the alcohol sweetness is being masked by the other sweetness, and so you attribute all the sweetness to the one way. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's excellent. Sorry I didn't crack it when you were around so you could have a taste. It's real good.
That's okay. It was for you. It's for your birthday. Enjoy it.
How would you, Ben?
So, for me, I think it's quite easily the Sori Brewing Baltic Porter. Vanilla Stout was just a bit too vanilla-y, not quite enough stout for me. The Baltic Porter did a coffee flavour very well and had that nice bit of sweetness to start as well. Led very well into the roasted and on the finish bitter coffee flavour. Again, another gluten-free beer, as we alluded to at the start of the episode. So yeah, it's one that I think I would very, very easily pick up again, to have as a, maybe if I wasn't drinking of an evening and I fancied one kind of like at the end of the night, it's definitely one I would pick up just to have as kind of like an isolated sort of beer, if you know what I mean. Without it having to be kind of paired with anything or drank alongside anything that was coming before or after it. So yeah, very, very easy for me this week. I think I do have something else from the Pyynikin.
Where are they from again?
Pyynikin. I'm going to say Pyynikin. They are from Finland.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
Pyynikin. Pyynikin.
Yeah.
Pyynikin. I don't know. I think I've got something else from them, so I'm gonna try that and see if it's. Hopefully, this is just an isolated thing that didn't quite appeal to my tastes. Right. So yeah, they are the beers for us for this week. If you'd like to get hold of us and talk to us about the beers you're drinking, the games you're playing, what you think about Steam, if you're using GOG Galaxy 2.0, how they all work with each other, you can do so in several different ways. You can get at us on Twitter or Instagram at tankedupcast. You can email us at tankedupcast at gmail.com. Yes.
That one. I don't know what happened there.
I got no idea.
You seemed real confused.
I'm at Nova_47 on almost all of the things on the platforms that I use. Aadil, you are at the Omniarch on all of the platforms that you use. You can also go... Oh.
Go ahead. I just have an extra plug.
Okay. You should also go to outoflives.net to read other articles, listen to the other podcasts, and go to the YouTube page to look at our beautiful faces and see the podcast in video form. And you can see our beers then. When we say it's a black beer, you can look at it and go, it's not as black as I think it is.
Yeah.
There you go.
I also recently guested on the Prince Track by Track podcast that I've now forgotten the actual title to because I'm the worst. And so you can hear my opinions on a couple of tracks. This week's episode, or today's episode, was on. I'm the worst. I'm just gonna look it up. Feel free to cut this part, or just make everyone wait.
However, wait. The Prince Track by Track podcast, as in Prince's complete, the artist Prince, the musician Prince.
So this the reason why I was flubbing things is because it's the entire discography of Prince. 15 to 20 minutes on each track.
I need this podcast.
Oh, I can't believe I didn't tell you about this. Yeah. But also, right now, it's doing a Stevie Wonder side project.
Okay.
And so I guested on Sweet Little Girl, which is album 14 from so it's track 4 from Music of My Mind, which is the 4th track of Sweet Little Girl. And we talk for 15-20 minutes about Sweet Little Girl by Stevie Wonder. You can also find the podcast. It's called it's at Stevie by Wonder, and it is the Stevie Wonder tracks, track by track from 1971 to 1976, the golden age of Stevie Wonder. And although I've been on 3 different episodes, but the first one just came out.
Nice.
I'm a mild Stevie Wonder fan, so it was an interesting thing to be like, yeah, I don't know a lot of the history, but like, let me tell you what I read on this track. And I don't know the last time I've had to talk for 15 to 20 minutes about a song. It was real fun,
nice.
And Darren's great. So check out the Stevie Wonder side project on Prince by Prince, but also Prince track by track. But also, if you haven't already checked it out, Darren's been doing that project for ages. Most of it's done. I think it might all be done. So if you like Prince or Stevie Wonder, check out that podcast and enjoy.
I imagine that's all of my podcasts listening from now until Christmas. Done. Just set. Yeah. I'm going to set it in. Fucking I love Prince. So that's it, I suppose, from us for this week. Everyone should think about everything that we've talked about, but mostly to go and listen to Prince.
And Stevie Wonder.
Yeah, absolutely.
Stevie's great.
Bye.
Ciao. Oh, sorry, right. Video, ciao.
www.outoflives.net